All right. I'm going to be talking to you today about the differences between an ukulele and a guitar for somebody who is beginning to use an instrument. They're perhaps later in life, like me, 30 plus. You don't have a lot of time to dedicate, and you're actually picking up an instrument so you can sing a song. And probably, as in my case, it's going to be an original song that you wrote. So you're picking up an instrument to share what inspirations you have, what messages you want to share, or things you want to express about your life and just things that are going on. Um, so you have an instrument for that purpose, and the singer-songwriter instrument, the common one is the guitar, right? It's very common, and it's very very popular. The other kind of alternative that you may not really consider as strongly, but you probably should, is the ukulele. When I was starting, I wanted to know the differences between these two instruments. Um, what is practical? What basically what I need to know. So I'm going to start to talk about these two instruments. At this point I'm a beginner. I've been playing these instruments for a year. I haven't played the guitar for quite a while, actually, for several months. More than maybe half a year. I haven't really seriously played it, but I've really stuck to the ukulele for different reasons. So I'm a bit biased toward this instrument um, because it worked for me, and it might work for you too, which is why I'm making this video so it can help you choose as an adult singer-songwriter with time constraints, and you really want to get your original songs created. You want to share it with your friends and family. Maybe you don't want to be famous, maybe you do, but you need somewhere to start. um, so here we go. So the two different things about a guitar, about these instruments, as you can see immediately, the guitar is huge in comparison to the ukulele. The ukulele comes in different sizes too, so that is a difference. The guitar is a monster instrument. There are a couple different bodies that come. There are electric guitars and acoustic guitars, right? And there are also electric ukuleles, which have a different type of body, a flat, kind of hard body. But really, that's going to cause you challenges in travel. Like you have this huge ukulele. It's not easy to travel with such an instrument. And let's see what else. That is one of the big things. So I love traveling with this because it's small and it's easy, especially when you're uncomfortable as like a new musician, like carrying a huge instrument around. It doesn't feel. It feels kind of awkward. Maybe it's the fact that I haven't got into myself, but here we are. The next thing that you have to know about these two instruments is this one is a heck of a lot harder to play. I'll tell you the differences. So first of all, there's more strings. That's more places where your fingers have to go on the frets in order to make the chords. And I'll just give an example of some of the chords on the guitar here. And I'm so rusty, but I know what they sound like. So this is the E chord. So your finger here, here, and here. These are metal strings, so they're going to hurt your fingers a little bit more than the nylon strings that are typically going to be put on your ukulele. You have to press a lot harder. It hurts to press. And usually there's a pick that's used for the guitar. The strings are a lot closer together, so it's harder to pick out the different individual strings actually. And there's a lot more places to put your fingers, and these frets are a lot farther spread out, especially on the I guess top side of the, I don't remember the terminology, but the top side of the guitar, they're much more. The other things you're going to notice that for a guitar, it's hard to see your fingers. When you're a beginner, you want to see your fingers and where they're placed, kind of without really going like this. But it's really difficult to do that with the guitar. But ukulele is going to be much easier, and I'm going to show that. So there's a three finger chords, right? You have to use three fingers minimum in order to play these, and your fingers have to be relatively spread out. You have to press really hard, especially you're going to notice that as a beginner. So that's not right. This is right. And then, like, for example, like moving your fingers up and down one string, um, eventually you get that muscle memory, but you may not have it initially. So it's going to be kind of confusing to switch. So this is E, and then A, which is there's a lot of different variations on this, how to play chords. There's a lot of different styles and methods and ways to put your fingers for the same chords, and there's a ton of different strings. There's a lot of variation that occurs with the guitar. It makes it a bit more complicated and challenging for a beginner. So this is the A chord with these three middle strings held, and your fingers have to be really quite crammed on there. And then there's the D chord, which looks like this, where there's still three fingers. And then I think this one's the G, and this uses four fingers in a really funky pattern. I don't think I can even play this anymore because I never really finished learning it. The other thing about the guitar, whew, it sounds really good. It sounds really deep. But also at the same time, if you're playing with other people, it's really noticeable when you make a mistake on here, like when you miss a string, or it's not as noticeable on the ukulele when you miss. So you can't see your hands. It looks kind of cooler. It's more normal. People are playing this instrument more. You usually use a pick for an ukulele. Usually don't use a pick, and I'm just going to show the ukulele in a second too. There's kind of one standard size for guitars I've seen, but there's a lot of different variations. So it's just a lot harder to play and less beginner friendly. But the chords sound pretty good, but they're really hard to play. And I noticed that as a beginner. You usually use a pick. There's a bunch of different picks too, and that's what I found there. The chords are much closer together. They're metal. It's huge. But yeah, I just, picking it up again, and in the end, I just realized you don't have to choose. You can do both. You can have it all. You can use both. You can have it all, but just not at once. And especially not switching to the G chord from the D. It's not that easy. I'm surprised how I'm getting this. I got a bit better on the guitar, kind of. I was going to notice my fingering because of my practice on the ukulele. Now I'll show you the ukulele and why I kind of am using it for my singing and songwriting. So some people just hold the ukulele in their lap. I like to put it over my shoulder. Could be knocking into the microphone here. That's all right. So with the ukulele, there are chords. There's only 4 strings, so that makes things simple. Like, it's not less complicated just off the bat. There are chords that you can play with only one finger. I don't think that happens with the guitar. So this is a C chord. This is a chord I don't think it has a name, but it sounds really good to me. This is A minor. This is a F, A, G. You'll pick up this instrument in about like an hour. You'll know all the chords. Maybe you can't strum and sing. So strumming and singing is really important if you want to be a singer or songwriter. Strumming and stringing, picking and stringing. And it's just a lot easier on your fingers. It's a happier sounding instrument. Guitar is like metallic and cool sounding, clangy a little bit. And this is more fun and happy of a sounding instrument. It's smaller, so you can take it with you very easily. It's more inexpensive. This is not a name brand. My other guitar there is a Fender. They have lower. I think that's less than 200. And there's a lot of guitars. And this one is some Chinese kind of company, Caramel or something. I think it costs about $60, and they always send you this tuner. And they don't give this strap, but they give other straps, and a lot of folks recommend changing the strings. The tuning is a little bit it tends to get out of tune more than a guitar, but you use your fingers for playing, and you don't have to press as hard. You strum all 4 strings on the guitar. Many of the chords you're not supposed to strum all 6 strings. Right, there's 6 on there. You're not supposed to strum all. Actually, it's 5. Sorry, you're not supposed to strum all 5 strings. Hold on. Sorry, that's embarrassing. It's 6 strings. So you're not supposed to strum all 6 strings. But on the ukulele, I haven't encountered any chords or anything written that you're not supposed to strum all the strings on once, and that makes it easier to get it right. In a crowd of people using guitar, you're going to stick out using a ukulele. You can move a little bit easier if you're standing. Everything's closer to your face. It's going to be easier to see your hands while you're learning. Obviously, if you stick with the instrument long enough, you're going to get it. But this is going to be, if you have songs that you want to write, you're going to be able to do this a lot sooner. If you have songs you want to write, and you're trying to choose an instrument, and you just want to play and sing, then I think you should use the ukulele. Ukulele, 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 ukulele. Okay, so easy to play, single chords. It doesn't sound as rich and fulfilling. So you have to like do more. You have to put more sounds, more variation, because the sound itself of the chord is not as rich. So you're not going to get away with a lot. It's going to be easier to do bar chords too. So it's a bit happier. And basically, if you're all looking to do some covers, all the songs that are popular songs that are written for the guitar are also transferred to the ukulele, and they're also often a lot easier to do. This is known as a beginner's instrument, and there are some musicians who use it, but perhaps not the really famous ones aren't using ukuleles. But there's enough folks are using it that it's a legitimate option. It's the one I'm using, so if you want to hang with me, it's less cool, it's less in, I guess. But I'm not really looking to be in. I'm looking to sing, so won't you hear me and what I have to say? I'm looking to sing to you. Hear my heart and what I have to say. Okay. And there's different sizes for the ukulele. They can get very small. So let's talk about the next part, and singing. So in order to sing and play, you have to get decent at playing. So for that, using an instrument that's easier is better. So here's like a really simple song I wrote. Just with simple, I don't know why I'm sharing it. I just am, because it's simple, and it kind of just, hey, it's what you might do as a beginner. I'll just sing a little bit of it. When I came across a corner, and I saw there was no place to hide. I saw fields across the border. I saw a future open wide. For the living dead there is no mourner. I have searched far, I've tried. Time is never ending, but when I sing you sound surprised. And it goes on. But it's really easy to transport. It's not that the ukulele is not as loud. It's cheaper. But as I mentioned, for singing, we're back on singing, and songwriting is just easier to do. But honestly, the instrument that you play is going to inspire the tonality of how you sing, what your songs sound like. The instrument that you write them on, they're going to sound different. When I picked up the ukulele, I had to transfer the songs I wrote on the guitar to the ukulele, and they all had to have more rhythm. Instead of just playing down strums, like my first song I wrote for the guitar was this down strum. I mean, I could do that in ukulele, but I didn't. But I changed it to something like this. Instead of down strums only, I changed it like this. recommend is that you can have both instruments. This is going to be a lot easier, and try them both because this is relatively cheap. I don't have them plugged in, so they're just acoustic. So those are even cheaper. For a beginner, I recommend using a capo, both for the guitar and for the ukulele. The reason is that when you do attach this on you can get a lot of cool different sounds, but having it on all the time, even when you technically don't want it or don't really need it, it makes the strings closer to the fret, so it's easier to play those strings fully, and especially with the guitar here. Especially with the guitar, it's really going to help you let those strings resonate better. If they're easier to press, they're going to just sound a lot better for you. Let's keep this here. They're going to sound a lot better. So I recommend getting both, but you're gonna find if you're gonna want to play in front of people without a whole lot of experience, you are going to want something easy, and you're gonna want to focus on your message, and you're gonna want to do things right and not just struggle to like pull a basic chord. You want to progress because you don't perhaps have a lot of time, and if you're doing something original anyway, you're not really stuck to the guitar. If you're trying to copy a certain style exactly, you could still do that using the ukulele, but it just sounds different. So let me just put them side by side, and let me just play. People like to hit the instrument. So here. And when I got an ukulele, I got much more into finger pick than I did with the guitar. With the guitar, I was just stuck on like this, like trying to get the chords right. Here, I was already picking. I already had my own little riff going. That's my own one. It's part of a song I wrote that I also converted into ukulele from just kind of vocals and acapella. But I hope I give you a good overview. The reason I'm choosing the ukulele as my main tool, might go back to the guitar now that I'm a bit better at fingers and all that kind of stuff, but I chose it because it's happier. I chose it because it's easy to carry around. It's not as loud. It's not going to bother the people upstairs as much. And it kind of just feels right. It's easy, and I want to really not just focus on the music per se and the sound, but the feeling. And the feeling is something that I bring with my lyrics, with the whole package. And there's a whole bunch. So I'm just going to demonstrate all the different things I've done with the ukulele. I'm going to make another video of this, of just the rhythm of different songs that I've written. So, and they all are, and usually with the guitar you can get away with 2-chord songs. With the ukulele, I could not make a 2-chord song. I usually have to have 3 chords at least. You can always get a lot, and with the ukulele, use your fingers more. And I'll make probably a tutorial about which one of these strumming techniques work best for me in terms of how to strum with your fingers. But let me just demonstrate a couple things with the ukulele if you're still hanging on. I'll just give some of my songs, the rhythm of it. So this is I Crashed Upon a Riverbank. The ukulele version does this. And then this is a song called Lost in Love. And I keep this very simple in order to focus on the lyrics. And then here's a song which is I Don't Want to Be Alone. Oh, it's called That's the Deal, sorry. This is a one finger chord. 2 1-finger chords. Oof. That'd be a dream in the guitar. And then this is that 2 fingers plucking. This was probably going to take me a while to get to on the guitar. It's just so hard to do you can fool around a bit easier on the ukulele. And here's You Are Your Own Dream. And sometimes these strings resonate funny, and that's why it's nice to have the capo, because that kind of shifts the frequencies a bit and allows you not to like the strings ring in a funny way. This string tends to ring in a funny way. You can hear it amongst all the other strings very easily. But when you have this on, it doesn't ring quite as oddly. Other songs I have, yeah. This is called Chuck. Same thing kind of goes with the guitar. If I use my finger. And this one song I have that goes like this. 2 chords, 1 love. When my heart is strong, it rings true. I hope I gave a lot of useful information for you. I couldn't find any videos like this. That's why I had to make it. I'm still like 1 year into this whole music making thing and songwriting, although there's always been songs brewing. You just sometimes need an instrument to help portray that. Maybe I'll explain why I started playing instead of just singing, because I believe I can do that decently well. It's a method, and it's a skill in and of itself. So there was a conscious choice not to focus on just singing, but to really use an instrument to help me. And I choose the ukulele, and it's not loud. It doesn't compete with your voice. The worst thing as a beginner that can happen to you is that you pick up a guitar and it's too loud for you. But this ukulele is not. And I'll leave you with that. Share, subscribe, and hit the bell. I love you so much. I hope you can tell.